Morning dear grade 6. Today we're gonna move to the grammar topic or the grammatical topic of lesson 17, which is about 4 parts. We're gonna talk about each part and then inshallah I'm gonna show you the practice or tell you about the practice in the practice book you have at home, and then you can answer the questions and together we can check all of them. Okay, inshallah. Now our first topic, we said inshallah grammar. The first topic here is about demonstrative pronouns. Does any one of you know anything about the demonstrative pronouns? I'll give you a hint. They are 4. 2 singular, 2 plural. To demonstrate something means to point at it. To point at it. So through the examples we have here, this is my favorite class. This is my favorite class. Grade 6, of course. So which one here is the demonstrative pronoun? This. Wonderful. These are my new shoes. These are my new shoes. Which one is the demonstrative pronoun here? These. Wonderful. So this singular, these plural. So these are the 4 I have just told you about. This, that, these, those, this. The plural is these, that. The plural is those. What do I use them for? To point out a specific person, place, or thing. So they are for specifying something, someone, some place. You will point out a specific person, place, or thing. These are the demonstrative pronouns. The next part of our grammatical topic, which is indefinite pronouns. They are the opposite of the demonstrative pronouns. The other ones, demonstrative to point out specific, something, someone, someplace. But here, to generalize. Each of the students must write a report. Each of the students must write a report. Which one here is the indefinite pronoun? Each, because here I'm not pointing out a specific student, but I'm talking about all of the students. Each one of them, but not a specific one. All the 20 in the class, for example. Now, before I proceed, I'd like to play you some kind of a video that can tell us more about indefinite pronouns, and then we can get back to proceed and complete our discussion, inshallah. Let's start with this nice video.
This tutorial will cover indefinite pronouns. As the name suggests, indefinite pronouns are pronouns that do not refer to any specific person, thing, or amount. In other words, they are not specific in which noun they replace. They may be singular or plural and must match the verb and number. Some typical indefinite pronouns are singular and some are plural, as you see on the chart. The singular indefinite pronoun often ends in one or thing, and plurals don't. A singular pronoun takes a singular verb. For example, everybody has arrived, so we can begin the meeting. Everybody is your singular indefinite pronoun and needs the singular verb has. A plural pronoun takes a plural verb. For example, John likes coffee but not tea. I think both are good. Both is your indefinite pronoun, replacing coffee, tea, and you have a plural verb are. Notice at the bottom of the chart, you have a list of indefinite pronouns that can be singular or plural, depending on the phrase that follows them. Here are some examples of how the pronoun all can be singular or plural. I ate all of my dinner. All is my indefinite pronoun, and if I want to know if all is singular or plural, I need to look at the object of the preposition in the phrase that follows. Dinner is singular, therefore making the indefinite pronoun all singular. Let's look at a sentence where the indefinite pronoun all is plural. I ate all of the crackers. All is my indefinite pronoun, and if I look at the object of the preposition in the phrase that follows, crackers is plural, therefore making the indefinite pronoun all plural. Note that many indefinite pronouns also function as other parts of speech. Look at the pronoun another in the following sentences. He has one job in the day and another at night. Another in this sentence is functioning as a pronoun because it is replacing the noun job. But let's look at this sentence. I'd like another snack, please. Another is now functioning as an adjective because it is answering the question, how many snacks? Another snack.
Anyway, I think this is interesting. Maybe this is a wider scope than what you should take this year, but I found it interesting to know more. And then inshallah next year in grade 7 you're gonna take this wide scope, inshallah, together. So let's move to the next. No one loves me. No one loves me. Where the indefinite pronoun here? No one. So here are some examples, and of course you're gonna find more in the video we have just played or displayed, so they can get back. What I'd like to focus on here, first of all, the job or the function of the indefinite pronouns, which is point to something that is not specific. Point to something that's not specific. Okay, it's a general pointing to something or someplace or someone, of course. The point I'd like you to take care of when you watch the video about both and all. Both is always plural. All can be singular or plural according to what's followed. Okay, what follows it. What follows it. For example, when I say all information is available. All information uncountable is available. All students are committed to do it. Students plural, because that I said are committed to do it. Okay. Now the third part is the interrogative pronouns, and of course also I'll show you this through an interesting video, so let's go for it. Okay, so now I think this is a very nice demonstration of the interactive pronouns. I'd like you to see them, to stop the video and to try to answer the questions and see the answers and check yours and so on. Now let's move to the third part of our grammatical lesson, which is reflexive pronouns, and also with this nice video. Let's go.
Hello grammarians, let's talk about reflexive pronouns, and just as a word of warning, this means I'm going to be talking about myself a lot. What I mean is that in English we have this distinction between the personal pronoun, so for example, me, and its reflexive pronoun, which is myself. And we use these pronouns in very specific cases. So I'm going to show you what all of those reflexive pronouns look like, contrasted with their personal pronoun forms, and then we're going to talk about how we use them. So in the first person we say personal pronoun is me, the reflexive pronoun is myself. The first person plural personal pronoun is us, and the reflexive form of that is ourselves. Then in the second person, both plural and singular, personal pronoun is you, and then in the reflexive it can either be yourself when you're addressing one person, or yourselves when the you are talking to consists of more than one person. The singular third person pronouns look like this: it, her, and him, and their reflective versions are as follows: itself, herself, and himself. Finally, the personal pronoun them becomes the reflexive pronoun themselves. Now all of these are what we would call object pronouns. They can all be the object of a verb. So they're never the doers, they're always the doees. With the exception of you or it, none of these pronouns can be the subject of a sentence. In standard American English, it is not grammatical to say, me eat a cookie, for example. It's part of why Cookie Monster sounds so funny. So then the question becomes, when do you use these? So the place for these object pronouns to go is in the back end of a sentence, what we call the predicate, where the object of the verb lives. So for example, she poked me, she is the subject of the sentence, and me is the object. It's the object of the verb poked. It is the doee, it is the thing that something is done to, and not the doer. So that's when you'd use object pronouns generally. But when do you use reflexive pronouns? You use reflexive pronouns when the subject and the object of a sentence are the same thing. Let me show you an example sentence. Janelle made herself breakfast. So in this sentence, herself and Janelle, the same person. As opposed to the other possibility, which is Janelle making breakfast for someone else. Janelle made us breakfast, and in this case, this usage is not reflective. She's not doing a thing for herself or to herself. She's making breakfast for other people. And so you just use the regular personal object pronoun there. You can only use a reflexive pronoun when the subject and the object of the sentence are the same thing. Janelle is the same thing as herself. Janelle is not the same thing as us, so we would say us here and not ourselves. How about this one? Roderick saw me in the mirror. Now, I am not named Roderick. I'm not the same thing as Roderick. And if I were writing a sentence about myself, I would say, I saw myself in the mirror. Roderick and I and me are not the same person. I and myself are the same person. The same person as Roderick is Roderick. So, if we were to say Roderick saw Roderick in the mirror, we would render that as Roderick saw himself. Because the subject here and the object here are the same thing. So remember, you use reflexive pronouns when the subject and the object of a sentence are the same thing. It's really easy to get tripped up this way, especially if there's a compound object in the sentence. For example, you can talk to Vidya or myself. I see this all the time. And in standard American English, this is not correct, because you is not the same thing as me. And it's easy to get confused because you're talking about two people here in this object, and that's a little befuddling. It kind of throws you off. And so there's a test you can do if you're unsure of whether or not it should be Vidya or myself, or Vidya or me, which is what I would say. How do you tell? Take the other person out of the object, just for a little bit. So would you say, you can talk to myself? Or would you say, you can talk to me? Well, since we know that you is not the same thing as myself, and you can only use reflexive pronouns when the subject and the object are the same thing, the answer is me. So then, we bring Vidya back, we bring the other part of the object back, and it becomes, you can talk to Vidya or me. So, when in doubt, sub it out. Take the other part of the object and just pretend it's not there, and just think about how the subject and the object connect. Chances are you won't actually end up using a reflexive pronoun. Perform that little check and you'll never go wrong. You can learn anything. David out.
You can learn anything. Nice words. Now it's your part. It's your time for practice. So, you get your practice book. And I'd like you to try to answer page 199, 200, and 201. Very easy. A piece of cake. And waiting for your responses. Waiting for your answers. At any time. I'm here. Keep safe. Keep home. Stay home. Stay safe. And see you soon, inshallah.